Good day. Here are the stories for the Manila Times for Monday, February 8, 2021. Senator Christopher Lawrence Bongo has called on concerned government agencies to conduct an investigation and crack down on groups selling or distributing fake COVID-19 vaccines. The senator assured Filipinos that the government would provide sufficient and safe vaccines approved by legitimate manufacturers, health experts, and the Food and Drug Administration. Go ordered the FDA to go after those certain groups. He also asked the Bureau of Customs, the National Bureau of Investigation, and the Philippine National Police to probe the report and run after those who distribute the fake vaccines. A group identifying itself simply as concerned citizens has alerted President Rodrigo Duterte to what it claimed is the large-scale smuggling of fuel in Mariveles, Bataan. According to the documents from the group obtained by the Manila Times, automotive diesel fuel is brought in by barges to piers and unloaded directly to fuel trucks. The operation had been going on since the fourth quarter of 2010, the group said. Its members did not reveal themselves because an investigation has been launched by the Bureau of Customs. It said that because there was no proper documentation for the shipments such as a sales invoice and a Bureau of Internal Revenue withdrawal certificate, it is strongly suspected that the product being transferred to the fuel trucks is smuggled. Pope Francis has broken with Catholic tradition to appoint a woman as an undersecretary of the Synod of Bishops, the first to hold the post with voting rights in a body that studies major questions of doctrine. Frenchwoman Nathalie Beccal is one of the two undersecretaries named on Saturday to the Synod, where she has been a consultant since 2019. The appointment signals the pontiff's desire for a greater participation of women in the process of discernment and decision-making in the Church, said Cardinal Mario Gretsch, the Secretary General of the Synod. The New Zealand Embassy in Manila has vouched for 8 Filipino nurses who were barred by the Philippine immigration officers from leaving. In a letter dated February 5 to Immigration Commissioner Jaime Morente, Embassy Charge d'Affaires Tim Stewardson explained that someone with a critical purpose visitor visa can enter New Zealand. The nurses were going to New Zealand for the Competency Assessment Program, a short course that is part of the process for acquiring an international nursing certificate. Immigration spokesman Dana Sandoval told the Manila Times the 8 nurses were offloaded because they were carrying visitor visas to study in New Zealand. She said the same group had in the past sponsored nurses for the 12-week assessment program, and those nurses have not returned to the Philippines as the group had guaranteed. The vaccination of over 1 million medical frontliners in the country will not take 1 month. PAL spokesman Harry Roque Jr. gave the assurance in a radio interview on Sunday, a week after the government announced that the first shipments of COVID-19 vaccines from Pfizer and AstraZeneca would be arriving this February. The government's vaccine czar, Carlito Galvez Jr., earlier announced that the country would receive 117 doses of Pfizer's vaccine and that the doses were expected to arrive in mid-February. The Philippines will also receive up to 9.2 million doses of AstraZeneca's vaccine within the first and second quarter for this year, he said. The initial delivery of AstraZeneca vaccines is expected by mid or late February. Galvez did not disclose how many AstraZeneca doses are due this month, saying it would depend on the global supply. Roque was more specific, saying over 5 million doses from AstraZeneca would arrive this month. 3 mayors in Metro Manila are opposed to the implementation of the child car seat law because of the inconsistencies in its implementing rules and regulations, which they said could burden local government executives in the long term. Valenzuela City Mayor Rex Gatchalian, Quezon City Mayor Josefina Belmonte, and Navotas City Mayor Tobias Chanco said in separate interviews that they would only approve the full implementation of Republic Act 11229 or the Child Safety in Motor Vehicles Act if the government could come up with the proper guidelines. Gatchalian and Belmonte called for a thorough review of the measure. They said the Land Transportation Office should have taken into consideration the different body sizes of children. Senator Emmanuel Joel Villanueva said the proposed corporate recovery and tax incentives for enterprises or the KUWTT law would be a boon to cancer patients because it would exempt cancer medication from value-added tax. The senator said on Sunday that once enacted into law, KUWTT would make cancer treatment more affordable. He added that the KUWTT bill could serve as a milestone not only in the country's fight against the pandemic, but also in the campaign to prevent cancer and other diseases. The proposed law will help our economy bounce back from the raging effects of the pandemic, Villanueva said in a statement. Tens of thousands of anti-coup protesters in Myanmar poured back onto the streets on Sunday, as the internet blackout failed to stifle growing outrage at the military's ouster of elected leader Aung San Suu Kyi. The fresh rally followed large protests on Saturday across the country condemning a coup that brought a 10-year experiment with democracy to a crashing halt. Backed by a din of car horns, tens of thousands of protesters in Yangon held up banners on Sunday saying, "Justice for Myanmar," and "We do not want military dictatorship," while others waved the signature red flags of Suu Kyi's National League for Democracy party. Topping business, the Department of Finance said it is looking to generate over $23 billion financing from external sources this year to bridge the government's budget gap and provide funds for priority projects. In a statement, Finance Department Undersecretary Mark Denisoven reported that of the total of $23.71 billion, or about 1.13 trillion pesos, $8.06 billion, or 34%, will be contracted for budget support purposes, while $15.65 billion, or 66%, will be for project financing. In sports, Filipina fencing sensation Samantha Catantan made a winning debut for the Penn State University Nittany Lions on Sunday Philippine time at the Ohio State Invitational in Columbus, Ohio. Catantan went undefeated 3-0 against fencers from Duke University and the University of North Carolina as she posted a 7-2 record in the women's foil on day 1 of the competition. The Penn State women's team registered an overall 2-1 record on day 1, beating Duke 15-12 and North Carolina 19-8, and falling to the University of Notre Dame 7-1 in the first round. Rigoberto Tiglao and Father Ranilio Aquino are today's front page columnists. Tiglao claims the Philippines has no exclusive economic zone or territorial seas, while Father Aquino asks if revising the 1987 Constitution matters today, amid talks of charter change in the lower house. Today's editorial talks about the Philippines signing a landmark treaty banning nuclear weapons. Read the full version on the paper's opinion section or listen to the voice of the Times. For more news and information, get a copy of the Manila Times on print, subscribe to its digital edition, or log on to www.manilatimes.net. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, and keep up with the Times. With the Fort Villa Saran, this is Arik John Seco reporting. May you have a safe week ahead.